It's 8/8 today, so I want to talk about why this date actually means something to me personally and what it means for you on your fertility journey. I'm Chinese, and in Chinese culture, the number 8 sounds like the word for fortune, for prosperity, for good things coming. It's why you'll see Chinese people pay extra for phone numbers or license plates with eights in them. But here's what really gets me about 8/8. It's the infinity symbol, twice. And if you're trying to conceive after 40, I think that's exactly what you need to remember. I was looking at my calendar this morning and I realized how perfect this timing is. We're right in the middle of summer, the season of abundance, when everything in nature is at its fullest expression. And here we have the state that in my culture represents fortune and flow. It feels like the universe is offering us permission to stop fighting and start flowing. Look at the infinity symbol. It's not a straight line rushing toward a destination. It's not a race against time. It's a continuous loop, a cycle that keeps flowing. Your fertility journey, it's not linear either. It's not point A to point B. It's more like that infinity symbol. There are cycles, there are returns, there are times when you think you're going backward, but you're actually just on the other side of the loop. And here's what I love about that symbol: there's no beginning and no end. There's no too late, there's just flow. I had a client who put it perfectly. She said, I kept thinking I was failing because I wasn't getting pregnant in a straight line from trying to success. But now I see I'm in a spiral. Sometimes I feel like I'm back where I started, but I'm actually at a higher level of understanding. And that's the infinity loop. You're not going backward, you're cycling through a deeper level each time. So, the Chinese meaning, fortune, prosperity, that's not just about money. In Chinese thinking, fortune is about alignment. It's about being in the right relationship with the natural order of things. There's a saying about a farmer who was so eager for his crops to grow that he would go out every morning and pull on the shoots to make them taller. Of course, he killed his entire harvest. Fortune comes to those who plant with intention, but grow with patience. And I think that's exactly what's missing from most fertility conversations, especially for women over 40. We've gotten so disconnected from natural timing, from cycles, from the idea that some things ripen when they ripen. My client said to me recently, I feel like I'm fighting against time. And I thought, that's the opposite of fortune. Fortune is when you're moving with the current, not against it. Think about it. In nature, nothing blooms out of season. You don't see cherry blossoms forcing themselves to appear in November because they're worried about missing spring. They trust their internal timing. They know that when the conditions are right, temperature, daylight, soil conditions, they'll bloom with an ease that takes your breath away. So, if fortune is about alignment with natural timing, what does that mean for your fertility journey? Here's what I think 8/8 is really asking us. What if your fertility journey is more like an infinity loop than a deadline? What if instead of I'm running out of time, it's I'm in a cycle and cycles have their own rhythm? What if instead of I should have started sooner, it's I'm exactly where I need to be in my own infinity loop? I see women all the time who think they're behind, who think they missed some window. But you know what I notice about the women who conceive after 40? They stop fighting the current and start swimming with it. I had a client come to me after 3 years of trying, two miscarriages, and a doctor who told her she was too old at 42. She was exhausted from the fight, exhausted from the monitoring, the supplements, the constant vigilance. We didn't change much about her protocol, but we changed everything about her energy. Instead of approaching each cycle like a battle she had to win, she started approaching it like a conversation she was having with her body. Instead of forcing ovulation timing, she started listening to her natural rhythms. A year later, she conceived naturally. And when I asked her what was different, she said, I stopped trying to control everything and started learning how to just navigate the rhythm of it all. And that's fortune, that's alignment. Now, this brings me to something else about today's date that I find fascinating, and maybe this will speak to you too. So, we have two eights today, two infinity symbols. And I think that's perfect because there are really two infinities at play in fertility. The first infinity is your body's wisdom. Your body has been cycling for decades. She knows about renewal, about letting go, about perfect timing. And she's been doing this infinity loop of creation and release your entire adult life. Every month, she shows you the dance between building up and letting go. Every cycle, she's teaching you that endings are not failures, they're actually preparations for new beginnings. Your period isn't a sign that you failed that month. It's your body saying, okay, let's try again. The second infinity is your spirit, whatever you want to call it. The part of you that knows this journey is about more than just getting pregnant. It's about becoming who you're meant to become. I had a client tell me once, I thought this journey was about having a baby, but it's actually been about having myself. She had learned to trust her intuition, to set boundaries, to listen to her body in ways she never had before. Whether or not she ever got pregnant, she said she was grateful for who she had become. When those infinities align, when your body wisdom and your deeper knowing are moving in the same direction, that's when the magic happens. And that's fortune. But here's the thing, most of us have been taught to override both of these infinities. We ignore our body signals because we're following protocols. We ignore our inner knowing because we're following timelines that aren't even ours. The problem is, we keep trying to turn the infinity symbol into a straight line. We want guarantees, timelines, linear progress. It's like trying to drive on a circular road, but insisting it should be straight. You're just going to keep hitting the curves and getting frustrated. But what if the curves are the point? What if the seeming delays are actually part of your preparation? What if your body's timing is wiser than your mind's timeline? Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually divine timing. Sometimes what feels like going backward is actually spiraling up to a new level of readiness. And here's what I know after working with hundreds of women. The women who get pregnant aren't necessarily the ones with the best labs or the most money for treatments. They're the ones who learn to work with their own rhythm instead of against it. Look, I'm not saying ignore practical things. Get your labs, understand your options, and make informed choices, but do it from a place of alignment, not panic. It's the difference between checking your GPS because you're lost versus checking it because you just want to know where you are in the journey. Same information, completely different energy. When you're aligned, when you're in that fortune state, you make better decisions. You hear your body's signals more clearly. You stop forcing things that aren't ready and start recognizing opportunities that are. I had a woman who was so focused on getting her AMH numbers up that she was taking 20 different supplements and doing every treatment protocol she could find online. Her labs barely budged, but more importantly, she felt awful, exhausted, anxious, disconnected from her body. And when we started working together, the first thing that we did was simplify. We kept 3 supplements that made her feel good and just released the rest. We kept the treatments that felt supportive and released the ones that felt forced. Her numbers didn't drastically change, but something else did. She started sleeping better, her cycles became more regular, and she felt like herself again. And a few months later, she was pregnant. That's the difference between forcing and aligning. Forcing asks, what else can I do to make this happen? Aligning asks, what does my body need to feel supported in this process? Here's what I'm going to do today, and I invite you to join me. I'm going to trace the infinity symbol with my finger on my belly, slowly, mindfully, just that simple motion reminding my body that we're not in a race, we're in a flow. And I'm going to ask myself, how can I align with my natural timing today? Not, how can I speed this up, but how can I align? Maybe that means saying no to something that feels forced. Maybe it means getting better sleep. Maybe it means having a real conversation with your partner instead of just talking about ovulation schedules. Or maybe it means something even simpler. It could be eating lunch without checking fertility forums, taking a walk without listening to a fertility podcast, being present to this moment, this breath, this body that's doing her best. I also want you to try something else too. At some point today, Put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly and say, I trust my timing. Say it even if you don't believe it yet. Actually, say it especially if you don't believe it yet. Your body has been listening to everything you have been telling her. All the I'm running out of time and I should have started sooner and something must be wrong with me. She has been taking notes. Today, just give her a different message. Tell her you trust her. Tell her you're not in a rush. Tell her you know she's wise. If this resonates, if you're ready to stop fighting the current and start swimming with it, I want to offer you something that can help you start right where you are. I've created something called the 40 Plus Heart Womb Fertility Checklist. It's not another to do list of things you should be doing. It's more like a mirror to help you see what matters most for your unique journey. The checklist covers everything we've been talking about today: how to nourish your body without extremes, how to restore your nervous system so it can support fertility, how to work with your cycle instead of against it, and how to reconnect with your body's wisdom. But here's what I love most about it: it honors the infinity loop approach. It's not about perfecting everything at once, it's about circling back to what feels most important right now. Starting there and trusting that each small alignment creates the foundation for the next one. The checklist asks you to circle just 1 to 2 areas that feel important right now, not 10, not everything, just what's calling to you in this moment. Because real transformation doesn't happen when you try to change everything at once. It happens when you honor your natural rhythm and take the next right step, then the one after that. You can grab the checklist for free. I'll put the link in the description. And after today's 8-8 energy, this reminder about trusting your timing and flowing with your natural rhythm, it feels like perfect timing to start exactly where you are. So that's what 8-8 means to me. Not manifestation, not trying harder, just remembering that fertility and life, like the infinity symbol, is a flow, not a destination. Your journey isn't behind schedule, it's not broken, it's just following its own perfect curve. Trust the loop, trust your timing, trust that fortune, real fortune, comes from alignment and not force.